Today we're going to talk a little bit about freedom, but how to get that freedom is by leveraging the Powur platform. And yeah, Jim mentioned that we're born with freedom, but over time we give up that freedom. So then it comes back to where freedom's actually earned. And freedom's earned by making a decision, making a commitment. And today we're going to walk you through exactly how to do that. You might be struggling. You might be looking at this platform and it's just not where you need to be in your life. If you listen carefully to everything that we coach you today, we will walk you down that pathway to freedom. What it's done for me, I can't even describe the incredible life that I lead now because of this platform and the love that has come into all of us. And the financial freedom, that's certainly part of it, but it's created because of the impact that we have on other people's lives, on homeowners and other consultants in the Powur platform. So it's an absolute blessing. But what I want to walk you through is this here. This is what the pathway to freedom is in this country today. Current retirement age is 67 years of age. Our current life expectancy is 78. So we go to school for 17 or more years. Some go for many, many more than that. So that means we work for 50 years to have freedom for 11. Is that the kind of plan you want to have? And not me, I certainly don't. But how about what we're talking about today, which is to achieve freedom in just 3 years? Who would like to actually achieve freedom in 3 years or less by leveraging the Powur platform? Just shout in here if that's where you'd like to be. Awesome, good responses. Well, there is a better way, and I'm going to share with you the pathways that other careers typically lend themselves to. But my question is, are you willing to commit to 60 to 80 hours a week, 60 to 80 hours a week, so that you can have freedom versus giving 40 to 60 hours a week so someone else can have freedom? Because that's the path that most people are on today. If you're willing to do that, then this message is absolutely for you. So what we'll look at is we'll look at the different, we'll call them the pleasure-pain principle. The first one is the pleasure now, pleasure later, and I'll give you some examples of each of those in a moment. The other is pleasure now, pain later, and then pain now, pain later, and then ultimately pain now, pleasure later. So we'll talk about what those categories are, and the first one is the pleasure now, pleasure later. If you can think about that, you can type them in. I'll try to look over a little bit here. And who do you think that is? That's somebody who's just kind of got it made, right? Everything's there. From the time they were born, they were blessed, let's call it. Yeah, born rich. That's a good one. And that's the silver spooner, right? They just were born that way. But, we think they're happy. We think they have freedom. Many of them end up in rehab and all other kind of challenges that go along with that lifestyle. But how about pleasure now, pain later? Who would that be? Just if you can, just kind of put it in there. That's somebody who they've got extreme pleasure, but then all of a sudden they go into pain. What category of people would that be? And part of your spenders. I'm going to see if somebody puts up addicts, rock stars, great one. Well, lottery winners, right? They get this big surge of wealth, and then they invest it poorly, and they end up broke. And that's the worst kind of pain because they get a chance to taste that freedom. Or pro athlete. A lot of times they'll get an early retirement, but it's not the most, call it comfortable way. And sometimes they're hitting their career, they get injured, and then they lose their career. So now they're in real pain because they had that taste of freedom. They had that taste of success. How about pain now, pain later? That person is always in pain, right? Always struggling. Well, that person is just about everybody in this country. It's 95% of Americans, the 9 to 5 as I'm seeing here, living in bondage. That's absolutely right. You're living in bondage to help somebody else have freedom. Freedom is an incredible word, and it's the opposite of another word that's very sensitive. It's called slavery. And in a sense, we are slaves to other people. So you make a choice of living freedom or basically giving somebody else freedom, which makes you a slave. And that's not where we want to be. And I don't know about you, but I certainly don't want to commit the rest of my life and be miserable while making someone else wealthy. This is the one we want to talk about, the pain now and the pleasure later. That means you're going to have some struggles. It's going to be difficult, but it's going to lead you to a pathway of freedom and pleasure. And who would that be? Well, let's look at the categories. Doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. Each and every single one of us, right? That's where you find freedom. Now let's talk about what it takes to have that type of success. So if we look at your typical requirements, and that would be of an athlete. And I want to see how many people here are athletes that are actually had made $6 to $10 million and you retire. So you're a professional athlete, right? You went through that whole process of 10 plus years of education, in many cases much more than that. Then you get the benefit of being drafted. You maybe end up retiring at 35 unless you're Tom Brady, and I know Bobby will love that one. But you make $6 to $10 million, and then you do have some level of freedom. So I don't see a lot of people raising their hands for athletes. Well, another example would be a lawyer. And when I talk about lawyers, I'm not talking about just somebody who's doing a kind of a minor area of law. Maybe that's a personal injury lawyer, someone who hits fame. And in that period of time, of course, they have to go to school for 18 to 20 years, have to pass the bar. They eventually get to retire at 60 more years of age, but make a significant income enough to set aside and have freedom for maybe more years than the average person. Anybody here, a lawyer who's actually got on that path to freedom? No? I don't see anybody raising their hands? Good. How about a doctor? And again, plastic surgeons, somebody who's really taken a career to a whole nother level, have to go through 20 plus years of education, pass the boards, eventually get to retire, achieve that freedom. Same thing, 6 to 10 million. Solar doctor, I like that, Johnny. That's a good one. That's a good brand. I might have to figure that one out. I like that. All right. What's the most important one to each and every single one of us? Right here, Powur. What is the education requirements that we have? 2 to 4 years, 3 years to freedom. What kind of certifications? Powur University. It's all developed by people who have actually worked in this career with Powur. And incredible what Irene and Jim have been able to do, and the team is amazing, the education that we get. Retirement? Why would you retire? Somebody asked me, with what you're doing, when are you going to retire? I said, why would I retire? I absolutely love what I do. But, the benefit is you can literally work this platform and leverage the income stream and go to retirement in 3 or less, if that's what you desire to do. And the income is unlimited. So with that framework, you gotta understand, we talk about money, but money it's paper, right? But what does it do? It buys freedom. That's the key. And the greatest thing besides money is what you can get in the Powur platform is access to personal development. Personal development that you would pay tens of thousands of dollars elsewhere to go to. Because the more you develop yourself, the more choices you have in life, the more freedom that you can have. So I would encourage each and every single one of you to just dive in on all of this training that we're providing, the personal development that Jim and the team are providing to you. That is going to make the chance, that's going to give you a greater opportunity for freedom. So let's talk about the pathway, the Powur pathway. Look, you got to know how to work the plan, but I'll say this in advance. There will be sacrifices. If you think I'm standing here today and everything was rosy, that was not the case. There were many of us who committed the first 5, 6, 7 years in this platform before we got to the point where we can have the kind of freedom that we have today. But you're going to hear stories of people that are now able to do that in a year or less by leveraging this platform. But this may require extra hours. It may require some struggles in your time. It's going to require growth because possibly the person you are right now, person you are today, may not be the person that you really need to be able to achieve that type of freedom. But through the personal development training, through the leveraging of the platform, we will provide that for you. So let's take a look at the different pathways. We're going to talk a lot about ambassadors today, but for us as consultants, that's an extremely important role. We are the most important people in the company. That is the statement of the company. That's the culture of the company because we sell and we refer. We get the most important task done. That provides the pathway for a whole bunch of other people within Powur as well. But it starts with a consultant. Secondly is the mentor. And the mentor is also a consultant. We're all consultants first. What do? We train, coach, mentor other consultants to do the things the right way. And we all sell, we all refer. The third is the leader, the support team behind all of the people that we bring in. We're leveraging time with other leaders. We're training, we're coaching, we're mentoring, and we're selling and referring. The one beautiful thing that you'll see is we all started as consultants, mentees typically. We're going to walk through those stages to get access to 3 types of income. And the first income is your personal selling. That's the fastest form of income that you'll receive in Powur. We call that active income. That's you actively engaged in the process. The second is mentoring. Now, as a mentor, if you're building a team, then you have the benefit of 2 types of income. You get the active, which is when you're selling with a mentee. And if that mentee happens to be in your organization, then you get to have passive income by overriding that mentee. That's not very common in companies that are out there in any industry, particularly not in the solar industry. So let's break that down a little bit. We look at the mentee. You're going to hear about people who have leveraged just this. All they did was get it, submit it, and tag it. And if you want to just do that and earn a significant income, this is a 6-figure income pathway in and of itself. Just doing, get it, submit it, tag it. You don't have to sell. Obviously, you have a pathway to be able to do that. We will talk about that. And you get 50% of the net revenue. And that's on milestone 1 and milestone 2. Milestone 1's paid typically about a week after the contract's signed, after site survey. Milestone 2, again, about 10 to 14 days after the install's been done. And you've got income pathway going extremely quickly within the Powur platform. So if all you want to do is get it, submit it, tag it, I would highly recommend you choose that pathway initially, and then you might see what other people have seen, such as Bo. Bo's got a great story. Bo was specifically an online lead generator. He leveraged the Powur mentorship program. And what that provided was freedom. Freedom to work his own hours, freedom to do what he felt he did best. And rather than selling leads off to somebody, he entered them into the Powur platform. He got it, he submitted, he tagged a mentor. What happened is he started to see the benefit of that. So Bo started selling as well. So not only was he getting the 50%, he got 100% at that point. And then he said, well, wow, why don't I just find people who I want to coach to become mentors, and then I can get them leads. Now he's starting to work on the passive income. That's leveraging the platform. So look at this from perhaps different contexts than you have, knowing that you have pathways within the platform. Melissa Dawson, another incredible example. Melissa was a very successful liquor sales rep. She focused strictly on lead generation to leverage the mentorship program. Didn't look really to sell. She was leveraging others. That provided her with inner freedom, the ability to work her own hours and work where she wants. She's building a home in Idaho, a beautiful location. Can do that. You can do this from anywhere, and provided her with financial freedom. The story that Melissa shared with me was really touching, that she was able to, over the last few weeks of her brother's transition, to be there. I don't have to worry about my job anymore. I don't have to worry about getting fired when I get back because I had to be gone for 2 weeks. That's true freedom. That's what this platform provides the best for all of us. So now you go down, you're a mentee, you leverage the platform, become a certified solar pro. You leverage the cost of goods model. You can sell remotely, virtually. You can sell in every market that we have with dedicated project managers. You don't have to manage any of that. You don't have to have a line of credit. You don't need an office. What business can you start and have this type of leverage? No infrastructure needed, time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. And you get 100% of that net revenue as a pro. So you're getting 50% as a mentee, 100% as a pro. You transition there. You don't have to start there. And you're paid to run a business. You're getting paid without having to have all of this infrastructure. I had my own solar company. My check was the last one to get cashed. I was always putting it in the drawer. I had to make sure that I was covering that office expense, covering all of the challenges, that with all the headaches, the team. We get access to this for $49 a month, a career pathway. My gosh. And one of the great examples of leveraging this platform is Cynthia Alvidrez. Absolutely amazing human being. I have mad respect for her. Real estate background, was doing solar as well. She's a stay-at-home mom with 3 beautiful children and leveraged our platform. She's working her own hours, working where she wants to work from home. Where can you do that in companies today? Has financial freedom. Now she's advanced to a mentor and advancing where she's now building an organization. That is true leverage of a platform and creating incredible freedom that comes from what we do. Now, if you look at the mentor role, which we all need to understand what it takes to get there, there's 0 upfront costs. This is what people need to really understand about the mentorship program. There are 500 to 600 people currently joining the platform every single month. And there's people who have ambassadors who are already in the platform that don't want to sell. They get an ambassador, they get the lead, they tag a mentor. But you have to earn the right to be a mentor in the platform. Zero cost those leads. You don't pay anything up front, but you do a 50-50 commission split. You have to have minimum 90 days as an independent Powur consultant. You have to have a minimum of, you got to do a deal per month, either as a mentor, as a consultant, and maintain that. You really have to have a positive mindset, an attitude, a true desire to coach and train others, because that's the true give back. It's for you and for them. That's our mentor platform where you're going to see even more and more important changes and improvements that happen in that program over time. And then if you look at examples, Lazaro Castro worked at a restaurant. He had a business as well. He was working 16 hours a day to 18 hours a day, started in Powur as a mentee. He stopped paying for leads because he transitioned and advanced to mentor, has the ability to work his own hours where he wants, when he wants, with whom he wants, financial freedom, and he's seeing significant benefits as he's built a team. These are just a few examples. But then you advance into leadership if that's what you desire to do. There's no requirement or obligation to build a team. This requires a little bit more of a full-time commitment. But if you look at just these incredible leaders, you might know some of them. They all committed 1 to 3 years over this past time to truly lock arms in this platform. So what if that was you? Where were you 12 months ago, 24 months ago, 36 months ago? What if you would have taken the time to truly lock in, buckle down, and leverage this platform as we know it today? Where would you be? Where you could be is here. You could be any single one of you could be just like that, leveraging your personal sales income, your mentor sales income, and the one that is not very common, which is passive income, the ability to override others. This is a pathway to freedom that's rarely available anywhere else. And what it takes to get there is by looking at the rev share table. What I want to spend time on just a minute on this is what most people don't understand. How do you get to 6 levels of passive income? You start, anyone's directly to you in the company. You override, on average, $550. But what you want to do is build your front line. And as you build your front line, that opens up additional levels of passive income. Once you have 5 plus, you're on your 2nd generation. Now you're overriding that. And you go to 10 plus, you're at your 3rd, 20 plus, and so on. That's the key, and they need to be qualified. And what does that mean? They need to have paying a monthly subscription, and then from there, they need to also have 1 contract as a consultant every 6 months to maintain that qualifying status. That's how you learn how to leverage that platform. A lot of people think building an organization looks like this, right? It's not that case. It really works like this. It's more of a shape of an egg. And what you want to do is you look at those levels, you want to focus on width as opposed to depth, because depth tends to get people way below your revenue share plan. Whereas width, the wider your organization grows, the deeper and the richer and the more benefits that come out of that. And if you look at this, it's going to take typically about 3 years to achieve the type of organization that will create that financial freedom for each and every single one of you. So commit to that long period of time. And as you take those steps, you're going to sell and refer like we all do. We will all obviously want to become a mentor for the obvious reasons of the economic side of this, and then start to coach others to do the same. So as I wrap up here in this section, When you're building a team, you need mentors. You need mentors on your first and second generation. And that's where you create that true freedom, because then you can do things and know that those mentors are going to be here for the long haul. They're the ones who are going to generate that passive income for each and every one of you. Make a plan to work together, leverage each other's strengths, and work that plan. But there's one last thing that I need to share, and that's the secret weapon that you're going to hear more about today. That's a free position within Powur. It's perfect for anyone who touches a home. There's zero barrier to entry whatsoever. And many of those people, if you leverage the platform, will up to consultant. They'll level up to consultant. Best example of that is Mr. Wally Arita, who has taken and really leveraged this platform. I had the honor of mentoring Wally in his first project. He went from driving to home to home to home to selling virtually. He looks at the ambassador program as free leads, giving him the ability to work his own hours, work where he wants, when he wants, how he wants, and putting extra money into his retirement account. That is how you get freedom. And where you start is you start today. Starts with a few hours per week in your spare time. You transition to full-time, get to replace what you used to make. And that's what's happened with me over the years. My monthly passive income exceeded my annual income, what it used to be. You can set yourself up for success in 3. And I'll tell you, this is where freedom comes from. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is to create your plan. Whether it's 12 months, whether it's 24 months, whether it's 36 months, free in 3. This is the way you create impact and income. There's no plan B. It's plan A. It's your plan, it's your work, it's your hard commitment, your effort. And if you do that, challenge yourself, you'll see the reward by leveraging the incredible aspects of this plan. So I will challenge you to get back to your accountability partner, your mentor, and get all in. Who's all in? Getting that plan done today. And I'd like to see, is it 12? Is it 20? You want the freedom shirt? I got a lot of text messages on that today. If you're all in, text your mentor, text your accountability partner. Let's make this happen.